Here at the Kent Research Partnership, we are keen to highlight the range of ways for social work practice staff to engage in research and for researchers to get a better sense of what's going on in practice. Within our team, we have realised that our routes into social care and social care research are quite diverse. So we've decided to make a slightly silly video to raise awareness about the very many options available when combining practice and research in adult social care careers and how they can help each other. So we're going to share a bit about our own stories of combining multiple hats, quite literally. So Wenjing, over to you. How and why did you get involved in research?
Thank you, Lily. I started my career as a social worker. While I liked working with people and making a progressive difference in my daily practice, I also realized that I had a deep curiosity about the way things worked or they didn't work, and explore how to address these problems in social care practice as well as policy. This led me to discover my research interest from my practice. Through my practice experience as a social worker, I found a particular research interest in the role of migrant care workers in caring for older people. I started asking myself questions like what motivates this migrant worker? How can we better support them in providing care for people? I also started to explore other broader issues like who are paying for the care services and how is the care market and the care labor market structured. This eventually led me to pursue a PhD on this topic. Since then, I changed my hat from a social work practitioner to a new hat as a professional researcher in adult social care. Although my work as a researcher no longer directly involves providing support to people, I am constantly learning and discovering new ways to make a difference in adult social care practice. I believe that research is vital in the field of social care, and it is especially key for practitioners to be involved in, as well as to lead practice-informed and practice-oriented research. So Vanessa, how about your experience?
Thanks, Wenjing. My hats span occupational therapy, teaching and research. As an OT, I worked in the UK and New Zealand, and I really enjoyed community neuro rehab. But it always puzzled me, how do I know if what I'm doing makes any difference, particularly when working within a multidisciplinary team, when it's really hard to isolate what component of an intervention leads to what particular outcome. So I came back to the UK to do a master's in public health, and that helped me understand the importance of evidence-based practice and made me question a lot of the things we did as therapists. I took this forward as a lecturer teaching undergrad OTs, and students often remarked on the dissonance between theory, for example, person-centered care, and practice, where it's system-led and informed by policy. I went on to do a PhD evaluating the 6-month review post-stroke, which is another puzzle on an ongoing policy where the recommendations lack any evidence of effectiveness. I've carried on with research, but combined with teaching, and I really enjoy encouraging clinicians to use evidence to address clinical problems. And this has the added benefit of them feeling more satisfied with what they're doing because they can see the outcomes more clearly and rationalize them. So in summary, I recommend dipping into the evidence to solve your clinical riddles. And I'm going to hand over to Raza now.
Thank you, Vanessa. Now, I started out as a care worker and I absolutely loved it. These days, admittedly, my shifts are very few and far between, but I still do occasional dementia care work. It allows me to engage with people I support on a level that I think no other profession can offer. But when you're a care worker, well, it's busy. You're busy providing care, never really have time to stop or consider why we do things the way we do them, what assumptions we hold when delivering care, what impact do those assumptions have on the way we work, what other worlds or other ways of delivering social care are possible. For example, how does the way we see care or understand what care means, how does that influence the way we do deliver care? So I always wanted to wear two hats, to deliver care and to research care delivery. Now this balance has never been perfect. There were times when I have primarily worked as a carer and did only a little bit of research on the side. These days, most of what I do, my full-time career, is research, but I still like to keep a toe in the water and do a little bit of care work when I can. But I do see those roles as separate from each other, like wearing two different hats at once. I would, however, hope that understanding the realities of care delivery makes me a better researcher than I would be without that experience. And I equally hope that when I do put on the hat and the uniform, my researcher role makes me a better care worker, more evidence-informed care worker. But enough about me. What about you, Ina?
Thank you, Raza. My interest in social work started as a teenager when I volunteered at an orphanage in Romania. After I graduated social work, I work with children in care. As you can see, I wear a fancy but oh my heavy hat as a social worker. The fruits are symbols of values, skills, knowledge that a social worker develops. But in my case, I couldn't wear this heavy hat all the time. So after a few years in frontline practice, I applied for a PhD scholarship. My research was focused on adults who grew up in orphanages in Romania and their life course trajectories. And I was very keen on the findings to support me as a social worker and others in our intervention with the young people who were transitioned into adulthood. For a few years, I was also a member of a research team, and then I moved to England and work as a social worker. As social workers, sometimes we feel emotionally drained or we experience secondary trauma. And we know there is a lot of research about social workers' burnout. Now, what has helped me to be a social worker for 20 years was having like a breather space. So after 8 years in frontline practice, I decided to go back into a part-time role in academia as a lecturer for a year. You can see my hat is lighter, at least for 2 days and a half every week. That was my hat as a lecturer, and this was one of my self-care tools. These days, I work full-time for Kent County Council in the practice development, policy and quality assurance team. But in this role, occasionally, I take off this heavy hat, for instance, when I support research. In the last 2 years, I've been a member of Kent Research Partnership. And despite the fact I do not carry out research, I've been involved in discussions about research topics. And I've had opportunities to refresh some of my knowledge in regard to research methodology. Next step in my career, I would love to be involved in research project with a few colleagues, practitioners from Kent. So if you are interested, please get in touch.
And I'm Lily, one of the bananas on Ina's hat, which she has to manage, as I joined the Kent Research Partnership and also sit within the practice development team. I started my social care career as a domiciliary care worker up in Scotland. Like many people working in social care, I kind of fell into the role as I needed a job after graduating from university, and I had done a lot of family support work throughout university, so had some experience. I was really intrigued by the opportunity to work in a kind of personal assistant role, supporting disabled adults, whilst also being part of a team. So we supported 4 people who were living in their own homes, some with family and others living in a housing development surrounding a community wellbeing centre. I really loved the role and only realised later quite how innovative the setup was. However, I worked alone and I did often feel a bit frustrated that I didn't hear much about what was going on in the sector outside my team or the organisation. We certainly didn't get involved in any research. I ended up returning from Scotland for some various reasons, including family care responsibilities, and was keen to get involved in my new role in helping to bridge the gap between research and practice, getting research information to people who can do something with it, and helping professional researchers to better understand what's going on the front line. So first I joined a policy and research team in a children's social work organisation, which was a great role and inspired me to go back to university to study public policy. That then gave me the research experience and confidence to apply for this role in the Kent Research Partnership. So I'm based in practice at Kent County Council, but this amazing role is all about being a bridge between the worlds of the local authority and academia and knitting together research and practice. We hope you've enjoyed hearing about our experiences, and thank you for indulging us taking this visual metaphor to quite ridiculous extremes. Our project aims to help bring practice and research together for mutual benefit, and we do this by bringing people from different professional and personal backgrounds together in communities of practice to share experiences and work, to translate research findings into useful practice information, and we also support practitioners to lead research projects as Kent Research Partnership Fellows. If you are interested in finding out more, please contact us by email or follow us on Twitter, where we are at Research Kent. Thank you for listening.